Do you think that the people in the in the inner Earth civilizations are like something whack is happening there too? Hello, and welcome to another episode of The Orphic. My name is Alyssa. I'm an astrophysicist. I have my PhD, and I want to understand the consciousness of the universe. So, incorporating quantum physics into astrophysics and things like figuring out the how souls fit in to celestial bodies in the universe, but also especially how it all fits into our understanding of time and bending time and using time to communicate, like help us communicate with different aspects of our consciousness. So that's what I'm really interested in. And please follow me on Instagram at interdimensional.astrophysics. Hey.
Hey, I'm Mikayla on Mariposa Moonchild. Oh, that didn't even make any sense. Hey,
There we go.
I'm on Instagram at Mariposa Moonchild. And honestly, I just want to be part of the ripple effect of healing across the planet. It's just fucking time, guys.
It's time.
It's just fucking time.
Heal it.
That's it. Like it's time. It's time that we heal. It's time that we heal from our current life, from the programming, the conditioning. It's time that we heal our ancestry, our lineage, our past lives. Like it's time. And it's time that we heal Gaia and that Gaia heals and that we connect with her. And it's time that we come back to the earth. We come back to ourselves. It's time we connect to our hearts. We move from our heart space. And through that, we come back together to live as a human race unified together. Yeah. It's fucking time.
It's time.
That's what I'm here for.
Hell yeah. Okay, so let's ground in a little bit. Let's just do some breathing and get present, and then we'll talk a lot. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're in the like eclipse portal right now as we're recording this. So in between the two eclipses. And I've been feeling a little, and it's a retrograde.
Yeah.
Mercury. Fuck.
Can you tell it's an eclipse portal?
That was the most like Mercury retrograde thing of trying to say the word Mercury.
Yeah, it was.
Where also the Mercury is in the microwave again, which isn't a bad thing, but it is.
It's a thing.
Yeah, there's some intense energies right now going on, and I feel it. So I think it's grounding in is very necessary. Yeah. So I could use that. I've been feeling a little floaty.
Yeah, let's ground.
So let's ground in. So let's take a few really deep, cleansing, nourishing breaths. So I invite you, if you're able to close your eyes and place your hands on your body and allow yourself to be intuitive as to where your hands are being drawn to on your body. If it's maybe your heart space at this time, maybe it's your forehead, your third eye, maybe it's your tummy, your root, wherever. Let yourself be guided to where your hands want to go at this time. And we're going to feel into taking some really deep, nourishing, cleansing breaths. So let's take an inhale. Taking a big breath in, filling our lungs all the way to the top. Pausing at the top. And opening the mouth and letting it go. We're going to do it again and really feeling into that stillness, that still point when we pause at the top. So big breath in, filling our lungs all the way up. Hold. Release, let it go. Another one, just like that. Fill your lungs all the way up to that still point. pause. Let it go. Now continue feeling into your breath, however you would like to breathe at this time. Maybe you would like to continue taking deep cleansing breaths. Maybe you'd like to return to your normal breath, whatever feels good and intuitive. And bring your attention to the base of your spine at your root chakra, where we feel the pelvis on the floor, on our seat. And imagine silver roots that are grounding down, that are growing out of your root chakra and are connecting into the earth below you and grounding down deeper and deeper. First, just into the soil, and imagine that rich dirt smell of the soil. And even imagine your feet being barefooted on the grass or in the soil or in the dirt, kind of like squelching your toes in like that dirt and that soil and that connection to the earth, to the ground. Continue to imagine those silver roots grounding down into that soil and going down deeper and deeper into the earth, into the pebbles and the rocks, and deeper these roots spiral and really expanding out so wide too. And there's like little micro tubules of roots that continue to grow, like just really earthing and grounding you down like a tree, sort of something, the wind came, that you would just be so strong and stable because you have all these different like all this mass of roots and different directions and different sizes that are just grounding you into this surface area that reaches so far and wide beneath the surface. So continue to feel into these roots as they ground down, going through the rock and down into the crystalline water beds, down, further and further, deeper and deeper, until we reach the center of the earth, the diamond crystalline core. And here, your roots are going to anchor in and sink into this diamond crystalline core, feeling a sense of relief, almost to be just like rest, like restoration, to be hooked into this crystalline core, to Gaia, to her essence, to her spirit. This feeling of just being home and just resting in the arms of your mother, just being held. Just feel into your body of how that feels as you feel that light begin to connect with your roots. And thank the mother, Pachamama, for holding us in this space today and holding us always, for being our home, our ever loving home all the time. And with the breath, begin to sip up, drink up that beautiful diamond light from the crystalline core. Begin to sip it up your roots. This nourishing, beautiful diamond white light. Up. You sip it with the breath, with the inhale, up through your roots. Up through the crystalline water beds, up through the rock, up through the pebbles, up into the soil, into the dirt, and into your feet. And begin to feel this ever loving warm essence and presence from the mother, this nurturing, nourishing presence, also this restorative light begin to fill up your feet and recharge your body and clear and cleanse and clear as well. So see it lighting up as your body lights up in silver from the bottoms of your feet up through your ankles, over your shins, your knees, your thighs, and up into your root, and allow this beautiful silver light to just glow and sparkle and glitter, just like as the sun hits it. It almost feels like a flowy, watery light. Now feel that light begin to expand and fill over your root chakra and your hips and your pelvis, and continue to move up over your navel, over your belly, up over your sternum and your back. Continue to move up over your chest. Just feel like this cleansing and clearing presence as anything heavy just dissipates into the earth beneath you and just dissolves into the mother. She takes it away, and you're recharged in this essence, this light of hers. Continuing to draw up that energy, it rises up over your shoulder blades, over your shoulders, your arms, filling up your fingers, your hands, your wrists, your elbows, up into your armpits, above your shoulders, your neck, moving up above your chin, the back of the head, or the mouth, the nose, the eyes, the forehead, the third eye space, up around the back of the head to the top, and all the way up to the crown where this beautiful white lotus sits. And just feeling your whole body as it's lit up in this liquidy, glittery silver energy from the mother. Just rest in this energy, allowing anything that's not serving you, anything that feels dense, to just dissipate out of your feet into the earth. Just allow it to go as your whole body is lit up and just resting in this divine presence. Now feel the silver energy move out of the top of your head through that white lotus into a single stream as it moves up above your head into the sky and up into the cosmos, up into the stars as it connects to the sun. And with the exhale, begin to bring that sun energy down the stream, down into the top of your head, into the crown, the opening of the white lotus, and bring that energy down your central channel through your chakra systems. Just imagine it coming down that central channel and into your root and down into your roots and into the crystalline core of the earth. Let's take a final deep cleansing breath in this space just to really anchor in this energy. So deep breath in, big breath in, filling our lungs all the way up. Pause here. I'm going to invite you to pause as long as you possibly can before releasing. Take a moment to feel into your body. Just check in with your body. How are you doing in this moment, body? How are you? take a moment to check in with your heart and take a moment to check in with your soul, check in with your spirit, and listen to for if anything wants to come through at this time. And if not, that's okay. And slowly and gently, I invite you to return to this space, your space, wherever you are at.
Ooh, talk about some grounding.
Yeah.
Elaborate. That was good though. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a longer ground in or like cleansing breaths than we traditionally do, but I feel like that just kind of came through and there was a
Yeah.
reason for that. I definitely needed it.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. Hey, we set intentions before every episode that everything that comes through is necessary and divine and divinely timed, and there we go. There we have it. That was awesome. Thank you for that.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Just come back to earth. Okay. So,
Yeah. It takes a second to just like stabilize.
yeah. So what's up?
Well,
How you doing? Oh yeah, do you want to provide a little update first about your health stuff? So in the last
yeah, I'll
episode.
get into it as we talk.
Okay, yeah.
Um yeah, cuz that's all part of this.
Mhm.
I mean, so yeah, as I said before we did the ground in, like we're as Alyssa and I are recording this, we're in this like eclipse portal in between the two eclipse. And like, yeah, just the energy has been intense. Like, I don't know about if anyone else has like felt it, but like,
Mhm.
yeah, there's some intense energy going on with this like eclipse portal. What was it? I sent you that TikTok that I thought was like
Oh
so
yeah.
interesting.
That.
Cause yeah, you're actually going to see the eclipse, which is really cool. I don't think I'll be able to see it from where I'm at, which is like pretty sad, but
You'll be able to see a partial. You'll
oh
be able to see
really?
yeah, you'll be able to see it partial. So if you get eclipse glasses somewhere, there's other ways to indirectly see it, but you'll be able to like look at the sun and see that the moon is going over it a little
Oh,
bit.
okay, well
Yeah,
that's cool.
all of the US will be able to see that.
But
But yeah,
yeah,
that video, that TikTok. Should we talk about that?
yeah. So what it was like talking about how when the eclipse happens is also the same time that this brood of like cicadas, which is like this bug, is like
Mhm.
this insect is like this brood is like coming out from underground from like being underground for the last like 17 years, which is like
Yeah.
crazy to me. Like these, I guess this insect is not out all the time. Like they brood underground and then only every like 13 or 17 years they actually come out of the ground. So
Yeah.
it's not like it's happening like the same year as the eclipse. It's like happening like at the same time as the eclipse.
Yeah. Right, on that day, right? On April
Yeah.
8th is when the cicadas are coming out. Okay, but the craziest part of this TikTok was that there's some okay, in 2017, we had an eclipse that went horizontal diagonal across the US in the direction of like California to Florida. This
Mm.
eclipse goes the other direction diagonal in the direction of oh sorry, I meant like c- uh Washington state down to Florida was the other one.
Okay,
This
yeah.
this eclipse is from like Southern California and Mexico up through New
New
York and
York.
the northeast. So I guess I could see the cardinal directions too. It goes from southwest to northeast. And so what this TikTok said was the location was the exact location of where these brand new cicadas that haven't come out in 200 years. Is that what she said? Or was it a combination of the fact that it's an extra long eclipse and the cicadas.
It was the combination that hasn't happened in like, I think like 200 years.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
the weirdest part was, yeah, the location of the US, which thank God I'm not there. The location of where the cicadas are gonna be is like where the peak craziness of the cicadas is the exact area where both of those eclipses intersected, which is like it looked like the Tennessee area, something like that on the map. It looked kind of like in there, like Arkansas, Tennessee area. And I was
Yeah.
like, I just had this face on plastered to my I had this face plastered for like 20 seconds. Like, how, huh, what, I'm,
It's so
what's communicating
interesting.
with what is happening?
It's so interesting. I mean, I wonder if we should even like link that TikTok to like this
Yeah,
episode so people can like
yeah,
watch it. But
we
yeah,
can.
it's so I don't like I don't know. I just think it's so fascinating.
Like, some kind of grand cosmic communication is happening underground
Well,
and with the cosmos.
exactly. Like it just kind of points to the point of like how everything is connected and communicating. And it's just like it obviously is.
Mm-hmm.
Like how else do these cicadas know to come out on the eclipse? Like
Yeah.
and this also hasn't happened in like however many years.
Do you think that the people in the in the inner Earth civilizations are like something whack is happening there too?
I mean, this is like the hollow moon. It's a whole other it's a whole other topic. It's a
What
whole
do you
other
think's
tangent.
going on in what do you think's
Wait,
going on in inner
what
Earth?
was your question?
I said I said, do you think there's some whack shit happening with the people in the inner Earth civilizations?
Well, of course, they're the inner Earth civilization.
Yeah, true. Anyway, it's just it's wild.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just thinking about the inner Earth people's interacting with like the brood of
Yeah, I
cicadas
know.
before they like come
That's
out. Like
I
they're
know.
like preparing them. And I don't actually know that much about cicadas, but what's really interesting is I like just the other day was like talking to my like neighbor about this. Like I was going for a walk and she was just like in her yard after and she's like, "Oh, like the cicadas are like coming out for the first
Yeah.
time and like however long and like I wonder if like the Okanagan's going to get any." And we were like
Yeah.
talking all about the cicadas and how like beautiful it's going to be when they come out and stuff, and I'm like, I actually don't really know much about about cicadas, so
Yeah.
um I'm interested to like learn more, or maybe like if there's some meaning kind of like behind them, like the fact that they brood for like 13, and I don't think it was like 13 to 17 years. It was literally like each brood is either 13 or 17 years,
Yeah.
which
Yeah, I
is
think so.
yeah, wild to me too. So maybe that's something we're gonna
Yeah.
have to look into and do more research. Like I did kind of look quickly at it earlier today before we hopped on. I just kind of like Googled cicadas and it didn't really
Mhm.
say much besides it's just like this insect. And to me, it looks like a big ass fly.
Mhm.
But
Yeah, it does. Yeah, they're like I know they're huge and kind of freaky looking.
and I think they
Yeah, I
kind of
don't know
make a
much.
noise. Like apparently the
Yeah,
males make a very like shrill sound or something.
really. Hmm.
Yeah. So, but I'm just like so curious of what the significance is with like the brooding underground and the coming out and like matching up with the eclipse, because like that's not by mistake. Like that's not a
No.
coincidence. So like what's going on there?
What's going Yo, I
It
don't
feels like
know.
some type of like prophecy coming to fruition type of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. It has prophecy vibes. Yeah.
Prophecy
Prophecy
vibes.
vibes.
Yeah.
Something like that.
So I thought that was very interesting. And then yeah, so like we're in this eclipse portal, heightened energy, as well as, you know, Mercury is in Gatorade again, Mercury's in the
Mhm.
microwave. Um
Mhm.
Mercury's in
Yeah.
retrograde.
Mhm.
That's the first planet that's gone retrograde in this year.
Yeah.
It's only been a few
Yes.
days. And for me personally, things have been fucking retrograding. And like, I do not look at the retrogrades as like a bad time. It's just like, like I seen one astrologist that I followed that was like, that's a really shallow like interpretation of saying, you know, like dreading retrogrades. And I 1,000% agree with that. Because it's just like a time of reflection. It's just like a different time. Not to say that there can't be challenging things that come up, because like there's things, you know, to be like reflected on, or with Mercury being like the planet of communication and stuff. It's like, okay, so it's going backwards. So like we might have some delays in communication and miscommunications and stuff like that. And yeah, I feel like it's been retrograding. It's only been like a few days. And like yesterday, for example, we had a massive windstorm overnight where it was like, it was so loud that you couldn't even sleep because the winds were going so fast. And you just hear like clunk, clunk, clunk from like the branches and things just like hitting the house and like in the yard. And then, so at that point, sometime in the middle of the night, the power went out. And Bryce woke up, and he works framing and construction, and he got like down, because we live like kind of like, we live like on a mountain, and he got like down to the bottom of our road and out to like kind of the main highway road, and the road was completely blocked off by trees that had fallen over. So he's like, okay, I'm not going to work today. Also, like the power's out. And the power was out for like most of the day. So and he didn't go to work at all. Like they didn't clear the road until like way late in the afternoon. So first, like that's retrograde. And then I was supposed to have a call with a doctor yesterday who just like stood me up. Like I had an appointment set with him, and the time comes and it's just like nothing. And I like call, and then I called 2 hours later, because like this feels important to me. And also like, you're like set, like, even though it's a phone call appointment, like you set up your whole day around this. Like at the time of the appointment, I'm not going to like leave and go for a walk, or I'm not going to like, you know, like go do, like I'm by my phone with my phone on, because I need it on so that I answer the call. When usually I'm someone who like flips my phone over and like puts it away for like a good portion of the day and doesn't like pay attention to it. So anyways, like 2 hours later, I call his receptionist and I'm like, hey, haven't heard from your doctor, ma'am. And she's just like, oh, really? You haven't yet? Okay, well, he did, like, surgery did run a little bit late. He's probably just on the phone with the person before you, and keep your phone by you, be on standby. Like he'll be calling you soon. I'm like, okay, great. And I'm like, I'm a reasonable person. He's a doctor. He could be saving someone's life. Like, you know, I'm, it's fine that the surgery went a little late. But still, I remained by my phone and I got no call. And I was just like, I was kind of annoyed, because I'm like, okay, my time is valuable too. Like, if you can't call me, that's okay. But like, you have a receptionist, clearly. You have an assistant or whatever. Like, tell her to call me and just be like, oh, sorry, we need to reschedule. Or sorry, it's going to be bumped to this time. Or email me, text me, like something. Because I literally feel like I spent like 6 hours like just sitting beside my phone.
Oh, that's so annoying. And then it was like that's kind of crazy that your Mercury retrograde started off like that, with not only technical issues but communication issues.
It was just really retrograding. And also, guys, I know that I create my reality, so like whatever.
Stupid.
I know. We'll get to that in a second.
My stupid thoughts.
But just let me vent, okay?
Go for it.
And then my MRI. So I'm supposed to have an MRI that, and also if you don't know what I'm talking about, for a little update on my health situation, go listen to the last episode and you can kind of hear what's going on with my health wise. And I'll give an update with that as well now. But okay, so I was supposed to have an urgent MRI sent, and I didn't hear anything from them for 2 weeks. And I was like, well, the doctor said he requested it as urgent. Like, you think that they would get a hold of you, like, at least to book the appointment. Like, maybe if the appointment's 2 weeks away, sure. But at least they're going to call you to, like, book it. And I heard nothing. So I'm like, okay, well, after Easter weekend, like, I'll call them and see. So I call, and the receptionist is like, oh, oopsies, I forgot to put it in. I missed it. I didn't even... I'm like, fuck. So just like so retrograde stuff. And like, and so that's super
Exactly.
frustrating too, because I'm like, this is an urgent MRI, ma'am. And like, again,
Mhm.
we're human, shit happens, but
It
it's
does.
so like, it's, yeah.
Yeah.
But on my end, it's been super frustrating because as Alyssa knows too, and her dad's a doctor, so like I've been like asking him like so many questions, and she's kind of been the
Mhm.
middleman, and we've been like going back and forth. So he like
Yeah.
knows everything. He knows everything, and she knows everything about what's going on. I mean, naturally you would anyways, even if your dad wasn't a doctor,
Yeah.
but you really know the details because of that.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Um, fuck, I forgot what I was gonna say. But yeah, what was I saying?
Yeah. MRI stuff or like what else is I don't know. I actually don't know what you were going to say.
I don't know either. I think it was something along the lines of the MR. Oh, you also know of just like all the other miscommunications that I've dealt with within the healthcare system since I've been in the
Yeah.
hospital. And I think that's where my
Yes.
frustration comes from, because it's not even like these are two things that are a big deal. Like I think a doctor just straight up not calling you and then missing your urgent MRI scan is kind of a big deal. Like shit happens, yes,
Yeah.
and it's
It
okay.
is.
But like this is probably the fifth thing like that has happened for me. So I'm like,
Mhm.
what the fuck?
Yeah. It's very much in your field.
Very much in my field. Yeah, and then my frustration too is just the system, which is interesting because I used to like, work as a medical professional in the system, and then I was on the other side of that, and now I'm like dealing with like how the system's not working. Like very
Yeah.
clearly, like
Yeah.
there's, yeah. So yeah, it's very interesting. And then on like an energetic level, I'm like, especially in this eclipse time, like things are like bubbling up and coming to our subconscious to like feel into and go into them further. And I'm like, this frustration in the system is being really highlighted for me clearly. And you know what? I
Yeah.
don't know what the fucking lesson is from
Mhm.
this. And I'm feeling
Yeah.
into it. I mean, because clearly, like, also, um, it feels external, and I'm like kind of putting this blame on, well, like the
Mhm.
doctor didn't call me and the receptionist didn't book the thing, which are all true, but I do understand that I
Right.
create my reality too. And so I'm like, right now I'm just kind of
Mm.
like contemplating. I'm like, why is this
Mhm.
popping up in my field? And why is it playing out this way? So that's something that in this eclipse portal that I'm still contemplating, I suppose. I don't really know the answer to that yet. But on a human level, I'm experiencing frustration.
Yes. Let it out.
Yes.
Yeah.
I also feel like I'm generally a patient person. So I'm like,
You are. You're pretty chill.
thank you. So, I mean, and I guess that's like, it's probably just the emotional attachment that
Yeah.
you have, especially too when it's like your own health and stuff and wanting to find answers and
Yeah,
et
definitely.
cetera,
And
et
it's also
cetera.
like, yeah, it's more magnified for you, and it's like it's frustrating when you feel like people aren't handling your case with care and with whatever, at least the basic like the basic levels of attention, and it's like this is important to me. Like what are you doing? This is my life.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's very interesting because maybe
Yeah.
like now I'm realizing like maybe it's like these levels of being seen. Like I feel like I'm not like being
Yeah.
seen or like noticed
Yeah.
or like, or like,
Right,
I'm slipping
exactly.
through the cracks somehow. And I'm very
Yeah.
much having to advocate for myself like over and over and over because it's like not happened
Yeah.
once, it's happened multiple times. Because I
Yes.
wonder
Ooh.
too, like with the
Yeah.
MRI thing, like again, yes, she's just a human and it happened or whatever, but like if I wouldn't have called to check in, like how long would it have been before someone realized that this urgent requested MRI hadn't even been processed or put through? Like
Mhm.
would it be 3 months down the road before someone's like, why didn't she
Mhm.
get her MRI? So it's interesting.
Yeah, it's like it's like contributing to the uncertainty aspect with the timelines and everything, and it's like you want to have some confidence that they are in control of something, but then you're just like losing faith every time they kind of fumble the ball. And yeah.
Yeah. Well, it just feels like I have to make sure I'm on top of it. Like I may need to
Yeah.
and call the people and always like, which feels very like
Right.
micro
Feels
managing,
well,
like,
you feel like you're in it alone.
yeah.
That's what it is. That's what it is. You don't, because of their mistakes, it's amplifying your feeling of I'm going through this alone. I'm the only one here that can actually do anything to advocate for myself,
Yeah.
which is a common, I think, a common experience of people experiencing health things and health imbalances or whatever. And especially when you have to deal with doctors and you have to deal with these other people that you're dependent on. And it's like you have no other choice but to be dependent on them and their timing and everything. And it's like, yeah, it's amplifying this feeling of like, am I in this alone? Am I the only one that cares about me, that can actually do anything, that can actually push this process along?
Yeah. Yeah. I do think there is a big part of that. And I think just like I feel like in so many ways I quote unquote removed myself from these like systems, and now having it feels
Yeah.
like I'm like having to like be a part of it, and in a way I'm like almost like at their mercy. And so maybe
Mm-hmm.
that's of like some like handing over control too. But there's pieces of that I get, cuz I'm also like, yeah, like there is a piece where I just do get to like rest in the mystery, and however it plays out is meant to play out. But then there's also a piece where it's just like I need my MRI. Like, and
Yeah. Right.
like,
Right.
and like if I just waited to be like, oh, la, 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 like, I don't know what's happening, we'll just see. Well, I don't know when I would get it. And maybe that's okay. But like, also, like, maybe I
Yeah.
just like do need to like, I don't know, I guess advocate for myself, or just be like,
Mm-hmm.
no, this is like, yeah, this is, this is what I
Yeah.
need. Because even like
Yeah, it is.
with the doctor, I had this whole thing where I was like, when he gets a hold of me, I'm gonna tell him how inconsiderate this was, and like in a nice way. Like I'm not gonna like go off
Yeah,
on him, but I'm just gonna be
right.
like,
You're
hey,
not gonna be
like,
mean.
it's totally okay that you went over time, but like I would have really appreciated just like a heads up or whatever. But then like when I talked to
Did you?
him, I'm just like, oh, like I'm getting into whatever
Yeah.
else we're talking about. But yeah, speaking
Yeah.
about, and even just being like at the mercy of like the system and like what that's been like, because
Mm-hmm.
I think that's been a process in itself too. Because I mean, first of all, I commend anyone out there who is a healthcare worker or who is a doctor in this age, because there is the
Mm-hmm.
rise of, I mean, the energetic healing that's going on and the light workers, and there is people who are leaving the systems to do this other type of work, which is really needed at this time. But we're still in a place where we have physical bodies, and healthcare workers are still needed, and the healthcare system I know in a BC is like absolutely crumbling. So I do just
Mm-hmm.
want to say, on a greater scale, I am very grateful for like for like the healthcare workers that are out there,
Yeah.
because I do think most of the time they are good people who want to be in service, and that's how they're being in service. And like,
Mm-hmm.
we need them. Like, if nobody wanted to
Yeah.
be a nurse or a doctor anymore, like, we would be fucked.
Yeah, totally.
So I do want to commend them. And then this is also my personal experience with this. But the one specialist that I have, from my experience, I don't find him like, he's not rude and he's not like doing anything wrong. But whenever I talk to him, I just like, I don't find him very easy to talk to. And I just feel like very
Yeah.
much at the mercy of whatever he decides is like and I know in the overall,
Mm-hmm.
like I always have the say in my body and I can decide, but they are the ones with the knowledge that are trying to dictate it. And it's like, I am
Yeah.
an intuitive person, and it's like I can feel his almost like uncertainty. It's like I can feel that
Mm.
I feel like he doesn't have much if any experience with what's going on with me, this certain
Mm-hmm.
specialist that I have. I think he's more used to older patients with different diagnoses, and having someone my age with just being so unknown, he hasn't
Yeah.
really.
Can we just recap for anyone that didn't listen what exactly is going on with you? Just talk.
That's fair. Or you should just
I
listen to the
realize
last
that we've been
episode.
well, that too, but
Yeah, I'll give a quick recap. So,
Mhm.
in February, I noticed swelling in my arm, and I'm just going to give like a really quick recap so we can continue on.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I
exactly.
noticed swelling in my arm. I went to the hospital. I was admitted to the hospital. They found at that time like a pretty severely extensive blood clot in my in 3 different veins, like up in my kind of chest arm region. I was admitted to
Mhm.
the hospital for about a week or so. And it's been unprovoked. Like, they don't know what it is. I'm very young. I have a clean bill of health. I have no risk factors. Like, I don't smoke. I'm not on birth control. Like, I have no risk factors. So it's very rare for someone my age to develop something like that,
Yeah.
especially in the location that it was. Like, anatomically, usually it's more common to get clots in the legs than it is in that position, and it's especially
Yeah.
how extensive it was, because it like
Mhm.
it was one clot, and like cancel clear because it's not there anymore, but just to like say that extended into 3 of my veins. But like, yeah.
Mhm.
um
Yeah.
and so what the whole process has basically been, they don't know what's been causing it. Like, I was seen by so many different doctors in the hospital, then referred to this specialist who is a thrombosis specialist, but I think he primarily deals with more elderly patients, at least like senior over 50,
Mhm.
that have clots in their legs. And this was very abnormal for him. So I'm still in the process of us
Yeah.
like figuring out what this is, and treating it at this point, because I've just been told over and over that it's very rare. And most of the doctors that I've seen, not the ones that I've called from Vancouver, but the ones from around here, they don't have any idea. And I can feel that. And I think that was
Yeah.
the different with this doctor that is my specialist, that is primarily taking care of me. It's like, I can feel his uncertainty, and I can feel that he doesn't really know. Like, so I feel like when I ask him questions, he's very like cut and dry with me. Um,
Yeah.
Opposed to, I don't know, just being easier to talk to. And again, he's not rude. He hasn't done anything per se wrong. It's more just my own personal experience and my own personal feeling. And
Mhm.
I don't know. It's weird. Like,
I mean, the way you've described the way the conversations go, like, I completely agree with you. I kind of get the sense that well, it almost kind of sounds like nothing that you say to him is really ends up being a conversation.
yes,
It's more just like he cuts it off at the end, and that's extremely frustrating.
it
It's
is.
very frustrating. Like, yeah, like, there's not really a conversation, and it actually almost I thought that maybe it was more that he sounded a little more know-it-all, but it's probably a combination, or, like, maybe with certain things, right? You'll, like, ask about so it's very, like, there's no continued discussion, and
Yes.
then he kind of just cuts things off, and I think that is frustrating, and it is invalidating to you wanting to go deeper into something, and, like, it's just you're kind of being cut off at the foot immediately.
Yeah, I think you described it very well. That's how it feels. I would say it's more that energy than the know-it-all energy, but it's just cut off with an answer. And I think it's because he doesn't really
Mhm.
know, and he doesn't really want to go into it, but he's not like really telling me that. And that's, again, just my experience
Mhm.
and just my perception of how I feel. Because I don't, and he's the main guy that's taking care of me. So it's like it's interesting energetically, again, what this is bringing up for me, of just kind of feeling like I'm at the mercy of his decisions moving forward, or even just like dreading my phone calls with him, or having to ask him because of course I have a list of
Yeah.
questions to ask. I'm a 28-year-old active, healthy female who eats well, who
Mhm.
hasn't had any other health complications in the past. Like, this is extremely
Right.
rare. It shouldn't be happening. Of course I have questions.
Yeah.
Um
Yeah, it's a bit dismissive. It is. Like, it's even if the reason is because he doesn't know that much or whatever, it's still just the communication style sounds a bit dismissive and less willing to
yeah.
go down any kind of communicative path.
Yeah, and so that's how I've kind of just felt in my experience with this like said doctor. Um and I guess just to like, yeah, and what's that kind of mirroring to me right now, as well as like the other frustrations I'm having with this system. I don't know. It's interesting. It's something for me definitely to feel into. But I will say, like, my
Yeah.
experience with all the doctors has not been like this. Like, I've had other conversations with doctors who I feel like were easy to ask questions to, and I felt like the conversation did flow well, and I actually had a conversation, so I am grateful for that. And yeah, I don't know, it's
Hmm.
interesting just being like in this system, I think I will say.
Yeah. And I mean, there's a deeper layer too, because you were trained to be in that system and you were a part of it and you have your own, like, you have your own triggers. It's like if I all of a sudden had to go in, like, was thrusted into some kind of new, like, academic situation or something, like, even though there's not really a direct parallel that I could draw, but it's like that's my system of issue or things that live in my body.
Hmm.
And it's like you're now dealing with that system and in different ways that are more personal. And it's like, so it's kind of complex, I feel, for you.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. So, anyways, that was kind of, I guess, I just was very candid about my feelings at this time with where I'm literally at and at this time. And so
Hmm.
since then, the treatment, since I don't know what's going on, is to be on blood thinners. And I've also been told that there's a good chance I could be on those for the rest of my life, which, like, I did not take that news very well. I'm very grateful for them for now, but
Hmm.
I'm like, I'm 28. Like, I don't need to be on this anyways. So then,
Hmm.
update from the past time that we spoke, I did finally get talked to the doctor that I was supposed to talk to yesterday from Vancouver. He's a vascular surgeon. And we did have a good conversation when I actually got to talk to him. But they're now they think that I have this like syndrome that could cause this. That's like, I do believe it's rare and it's an anatomical thing. And
Hmm.
basically, you need surgery to correct it. So that was our
Yeah.
conversation, was just about the surgery and what that would look like, and potentially having that in the summertime. Yeah, that's kind of
Hmm.
my update on that. But it's been like a lot to process, and it's been, for me, it's felt very like emotionally draining, I think, to first of all like
Yeah.
micromanage, it feels like, to stay on top of all the stuff, and like, why haven't I been called about my
Yeah.
MRI? Why isn't this doctor called me? Okay, now I need to talk to this doctor with this. Okay, now I'm processing that I might need surgery. Now I'm processing this. Now I'm processing this. Like, it's
Mm.
yeah.
Well, it's like before this happened, you already felt like life was probably overwhelming enough, and then this has been introduced as an entirely brand new energy of something to look after and something to quote unquote worry about and something, and something, it's taking up time, it's taking up mental space, it's taking up mental energy. And yeah, of course it's going to be, and it was unexpected too, and it's also like emotional whiplash or all these, it's like you don't, you don't know what's around the corner.
Yeah.
And I think anyone that had like unexpected health things come about would probably relate to that, and and then also, so like the latest update was that the recent scan had showed that the clot like went away for the most part, or like was able to dissipate, which is good. And so then it's like, there's relief there, but then there's still, it's just kind of, you're being tugged around a
Well,
lot.
yeah, it's a very like, it's all very unknown, right? So I've just had to really
Yes.
be in that unknown. And then, like, this summer I'm getting married. And on top of that, I have
Hmm.
multiple close friends that are getting married. Like, this is probably the busiest summer that Bryce and I have like ever had. Like, I'm fucking
Yeah.
booked. Like, I'm booked. Like, I think even in
Yeah.
like just in the month of June alone, every single weekend I have something like important, like away that weekend, like going
Yeah.
on. Like it's a lot. And then throughout July and August, like there's a lot going on. So even we've been talking, like bachelorette stuff. Like I always wanted to do my bachelorette in Vegas, or for a long time I've wanted to do that. And now there's a big question mark on if I can even travel out of the country. So that's something that I'm also trying to actively like figure out in the middle of this. So it does affect things like that. And then if and when if I need surgery, which it sounds like that's what is being leaned towards right now, like I'm gonna say probably we're looking at an 80 to 90%, like that's where we're headed right now, is
Yeah.
when am I gonna do that? Because like I can't have surgery like right before my wedding, so it's like, what does that also look like for me? So there's a lot of unknown, and like and I know there is a lot of beauty and a lot of wisdom in the unknown. So I think there's just like it feels like such an intense deepening for me right now. Like it just feels like we're going in layer after layer after layer with this and with other things, and just like going in. And yeah, I think that's what it feels like. It's just like this deepening. And I get like, and overall, I would say the message, there's lots here, because I'm also still uncovering the pieces about my body. Like, how is my body communicating with me? How can I take the pressure off of myself of I did something wrong and that's why I got the blood clot? Because and that's a huge one. And I think a lot of people in the spiritual community, whatever, would maybe resonate with this, is there's like this, there can be kind of almost this dogma around this in some areas, or this like pressure that to be well all the time, and if we're not well, it's like something that we did wrong, right? Like we manifested this dis-ease in the body because we did something wrong. And I 100% believe that your body talks to you, and that you can and will manifest disease in your body from stuck or trapped emotions or from different things. But it doesn't mean that you necessarily did something wrong. Like it's not, it's not that you did something wrong. It's just learning to understand and connect to your body. Because your body does talk to you through these things. So I also 100% believe that my body is and was talking to me through this. Like there is something there for me. There is medicine there for me, but it's not like I did something wrong or I didn't do my practice good enough. But that was also something that I had to move through, because I did, like, if I'm being honest, like some of those feelings did come up for me of like, because before this I was like doing my cold plunge in the morning. I was doing yoga. I was working out. I've been working out more than I had been for probably years, like consistently. I was like doing all the things on paper that looked right. And then boom, I was in the hospital. So like that was a whirlwind.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's like what is happening? And yeah, it's like you try not to have a shame associated with it, but it's like it is obviously hard to take it completely objectively. It's like even if this is representing some imbalance, it's still just like it's like this frustration. It's like, oh, I thought what more can I do?
Yeah, that's how
Just
I
you want to
felt.
wave the white flag, like, right? It's like what more do you want from me?
That's how I felt.
Trying here.
So there's still these pieces of me, or these parts that I'm like still learning to understand about all of it too, of like that connection to my body. And just like it feels like I'm almost taking like the information from here and these different pieces I get. I'm kind of like making a collage of the whole bigger picture, of the whole bigger like perspective, and learning to understand what was going on, or what. Yeah. So yeah, that's an update on what's going on with me at this time. Yeah, it's definitely been an interesting journey to move through. And then now with this like retrograding energy, this like eclipse portal energy, and I also do, I I believe that this health thing was an initiation for me. I feel like there was a lot of learning for me to do of how to gracefully move through this. And some of that I'm still learning clearly with like the phone calls with the doctors. So maybe that's a message too of just like allowing that a space for grace to come in too, because then, and I'm realizing these things as I'm talking too, because then it's like, oh, if, grace for myself in this process and grace for the doctors and the receptionists and the MRI people. They're just doing their job.
Yeah. Yeah, and it also feels like it's about deepening your connection with your body, because that is what you are trying to teach and kind of embody, that connection with body. So if it also just feels like that, like moving to a deeper understanding of that, like you thought you had an understanding before, but then now it's just going to bring you to an even deeper understanding that you can then go on to teach of the connection to your body. And like maybe you haven't even fully unraveled all of that yet, but it feels like it's kind of bringing you down some path like that.
Well, and I started, I'm walking the medicine wheel this year, which I think I talked a little bit in the last one. So we started our South Direction, which is like a weekend away. It's like, how do you explain the medicine wheel? It's a lot, but like, we're doing shamanic yoga, and it's like Peruvian lineage, shamanism, and all the things. So then each direction we meet for like the weekend or whatever. And the first one was like the wounded, or it wasn't the wounded healer, but it was the healer archetype. So then we're moving through our own personal like birth stories and our own personal happenings and woundings from like this lifetime to like clear and move those so we can move into like the next archetypes of the different like of the medicine wheel and like of shamanism. But it's so interesting because the more that I've been called into this work, and it feels like I've really been called into it lately, the learning like the path of, I don't know, I don't want to like use the word like shaman, but I guess like but for like English terms, they speak about how, and especially in the first direction, like how it's like shaking the tree. You're like shaking the tree.
Yeah.
So all of the, so you're being shaken, like you're being shaken and like opened up, and then all these like little pieces are dropping down for you too. And I think that's really interesting because that's like very much what it felt like, right? And it's like there's these life circumstances or that we create, that we call into our field so that we can learn through them. And that's exactly what it is in like the shamanism of like shaking the tree of the shaman. It's like when once the shaman decides to go onto that initiatory path, it's like that whole path, the teachings, the learning, the wisdom is like shaking that tree so that they can go in deeper. And it really felt like, because it felt like that, and it feels like that's what's kind of continuing to happening. And I don't believe in coincidences either. So it's very interesting because like it was all happening very close to the same time that I went to the first direction of the medicine wheel. And actually I was a little bit late for it because the night before I was supposed to leave, my arm got so incredibly swollen that I went into the ER in the middle of the night before I'm like supposed to leave.
Yeah.
And so that was like a whole thing too. And that was happening, right as I'm supposed to go into this, into the first direction of the medicine wheel. And that kind of comes back to also when I've talked about plant medicine ceremonies in the past and how like the week before or it can be plant medicine or just ceremonies in general, when we have these spaces that we've committed to show up in, and how there's that piece of our subconscious that maybe can feel the expansion, or our bodies can feel the expansion. There's that like ego piece or small ego or whatever that wants to self-sabotage or wants to put up a block from us expanding because it wants to feel safe. And that's when I've talked about this before. In my experience, I had plant medicine ceremonies, but it'd be like the week before, days before, where you're noticing the resistance come up. So either just yourself, you're having these thoughts of, fuck this, I don't want to go anymore. Or there's things that are happening in your field where it's like you're making excuses, or other things are coming up like, oh, something happened to my car. I can't go now. Or no, I don't have the money to go now. Or yada, 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 all these reasons. And this shit does happen. This happens like every time pretty much for myself without fail before something like this and others.
Yeah. No, totally. That's how it works.
It's so
right?
interesting. And then when that happens, when you feel this resistance coming up, it's like this choice point of, do I give in to these excuses and like, you know, not follow through with this? Or do I move through this, whatever it's teaching me, and continue and go to the thing because of whatever. But it's so interesting because it's how it happens. And like, I can definitely vouch for it. Like I've talked, if you haven't listened to our episodes about the mushroom ceremonies, definitely go listen to those because they're really, really good episodes. And I talk about that a little bit more. But I even like remember like completely signing up, like, yeah, I'm going to do this ancient mushroom medicine. I'm so excited for it. And then like the day before comes and I'm like, I don't want to go. Like, I don't want to go. Like, fuck this. And, you know, I had the, and like, I seriously considered being like, I don't need to go. Like, why am I going to this? I don't need to go to this. That resistance. And then even the Aya retreat that I went to, which that was, I'm not going to say big, but it was an expansive experience.
Expensive.
It was very beautiful, but it was it was an expansive
we never
experience.
Talked about that.
But like right before I had to go, my car had to go into the shop and they're like, yeah, your tires are down to the cords. Like, we literally cannot let you drive your vehicle. Like, legally, we can't let you drive your vehicle out of this shop until there's new tires on it. And that's on top of what it's already in there for, which is this like, what was it? I don't know. Some type of, I want to say lug nut.
That noise.
Yes.
The noise that your car was making.
The name's not coming to me at this time, but it's like some wheel bearing. The wheel bearing.
Oh.
So it was already in there for that because it was so loud that I couldn't even hear myself think when I was driving. You were in it when it was like that at one point. It was like,
I heard it. Yeah.
So it was in there already for that, which was already like a decent sized bill. And then they're like, yeah, so your tires are fucked and you're not driving anywhere. And I'm like, oh, okay, good, great. And I was already like, having to call in the money to go to this retreat, and now I have this like bill for my vehicle. And so, yeah, the resistance came through very heavy for me to go to that. But that's also an opportunity to move through. Like, resistance is not a bad thing. Resistance is like, if you actually want to make it your friend, is like very, very powerful and potent medicine. So for that, it was like, okay, I still want to, like, I want to go to this. I feel called to go to this. I'm going to continue to go to this. Okay. Creator, I trust you. Help me. And very quickly, I had the unexpected amount of money come through that I needed to go to the retreat and to pay for my vehicle, which was like, there was like multiple things that needed to be done on my vehicle before I could like drive it out of there.
Yeah.
And so, and it's also a lesson that like, if you say yes and you follow through and you open yourself up to receive miracles from the universe, that it will, like, the creator will have your back, and it will, he, it, she, all of the above will hold you, but you have to, like, I guess, give yourself the opportunity to be held in that space and to move through that process.
Yeah. It's more of the divine feminine receptive energy.
Which I'm still learning on a lot of those, but
yeah, definitely. That's it for this week's episode. Thank you so much for listening and hope you enjoyed. Please give the podcast a follow on Instagram at the Orphic Podcast. Don't forget that all of these episodes are also on YouTube, so definitely go watch and subscribe over there. Please follow me on Instagram at interdimensional.astrophysics and follow Mikayla at Mariposa Moonchild. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time. Bye.